Hi, I'm Demian, sometimes internetally known as Kyrasis, and this is my enigmatic ranting program.
DERP, Episode 2, The Seeker Mold.
Today, I'm going to be talking about the Seeker Mold. Now, for me, the history of the Decepticon Seeker Mold, the classics, actually started back in the 1980s because I was so in love with Starscream, and it was pretty much impossible for me to get a hold of him back here in Europe, since I live in Sweden. And I tried to find every single kind of almost Seeker I could, like Pretender Scream, Action Master Scream, Leader 1 from the GoBots, and finally G2 Scream. Now, all those guys had their ups and downs, and many were cool in their own way, but they weren't really what I wanted. And when I did get a hold of the G2 Starscream, I was mightily dissatisfied, since it's a sad brick in horrible colors. But the Classics line came. I don't know quite why, but I've always been in love with the look of an F-15 fighter, and then a giant robot being an F-15 fighter, that was just my thing. Here today, I have with me Classics Acid Storm. He was the first version of the Seeker Mold that I managed to get hold of, and because of that, he has got a slightly more special place in my heart than any of the other versions of him. He is a really, really great play mode. The camouflage works great. I mean, you can definitely imagine this being parked in a jungle area somewhere or something like that. And even from the underside, he isn't that terrible. The mold isn't kibbly. Maybe some people would say that the guns are a bit large, but I mean, come on, he's a Decepticon. Nothing more to say. The alt modes on the Classic Seeker mode are great, so Robot Mode. Boom! Yeah, the robot mode of the Classic Seeker mode is just great. It's super cartoon accurate, and the design is just timeless. I love the wings, I love the everything. Okay, sure, he has a couple of problems, the mold has. I mean, again, the guns are a bit too large and they bump up against the wings. The really silly tit turbines for the landing gear, of course, and on the back the wings are a bit lackluster, and the kibble cone, of course, is worth mentioning. But beyond that, actually, one more thing, I'd say, because the heads are painted, and when you do the transformation, the kibble cone, that's a new expression everyone's gonna have to be using. Kibble cone, kibble cone, kibble cone. Say it 3 times fast. Kibble cone, kibble cone, kibble cone. Scratches against his forehead, which on poor Acid Storm has left a couple of green marks. Really gotta let my hair out. Much better. Hey, my beard grew. Okay. I've actually been lucky enough to get a hold of the Ace Seeker 3-pack, the Asia exclusives, and they're nice. The 3 Ace Seekers are the 3 originals of Skywarp, Starscream, and Thundercracker. They're done up in more metallic colors now, although Starscream being almost a bit pearlescent, which one second I hate, the next second I love. The mold is getting slightly old, though. The wings keep on being a bit floppy, and the knees don't fit quite together, but those are nitpicks. They are still great display pieces. The 3 work great as a team. I mean, they are so unison. But with that, poor Acid Storm ends up being a bit dejected and left out. He just doesn't fit in with the other 3. Then there are the Coneheads of Ramjet, Dirge, and Thrust. Now, they end up all having a bit more personality, but they still look so epically silly. I love them. Taken as a group, though, they work exceedingly well. And even though they're basically the same toy, you can still army build a whole gang with completely different characters. Same thing goes for plane mode. Even though the Coneheads do have a bit more personality in their individual shapes, I still prefer the original F-15. They're just so sleek and so and so The Seeker mold, as toys, as representations of the characters, they just succeed. And they're among my favorites in the classic line. And that's about all I have to say. I love them. Now, if only I had Sunstorm and Slipstream and Bitstream and oh dear.
I made this.
And damn it, Thu, when are we going to hear about your latest Seekers, huh?